Okay, so today I wanted to cover forgiveness. This is a real big one for me. This is something I've been really struggling with. If you go over this sheet, it gives you the definition of forgiveness, which is a process where someone who has been wronged chooses to let go of the resentment and treat the wrongdoer with compassion. It takes a lot of strength to give forgiveness. It takes a lot of strength to accept forgiveness. So whether you're giving or receiving, there are four stages that I'd like to talk about. The first stage is the uncovering phase, where during the first phase of forgiveness, you will improve your understanding of the injustice and how it has impacted your life. So basically, you're going through each emotion, you're thinking it through. You can either choose to accept what happened or choose to deny what happened. But whatever you do, you're uncovering the emotions associated with your choice. The next step is the decision phase, and this is the second phase where you gain a deeper understanding of what forgiveness is and make the decision to choose or reject the forgiveness as an option. And really, I skipped the uncovering phase, but it's just as important to know what needs to happen when it comes to forgiveness. I'm still very much unclear on this, so bear with me. The work phase is the third phase. You'll start to understand the offender in a new way, which will allow positive feelings toward the offender and yourself. If this is someone that you love and that you care for, you're going to want to go through this phase where you work together. Not only you work on yourself, but you work together to get through the entire process. And nobody says that, it does take time to do this. If you love someone, you take the time to sit down and work through these things together. And you work things on yourself. And then the fourth is the deepening phase, the final phase of forgiveness, where you further decrease the negative emotions associated with what happened. But you also may find meaning in the experiences and recognize ways in which you've grown as a result. So the end goal is to grow from it. You grow from it as a person. You grow from it in your relationship with that individual. Now, it also talks about what forgiveness is and isn't, right down here. And what it is not is reconciliation, repairing or returning to the relationship, forgetting the injustice, condoning or excusing the offender's behavior, granting legal mercy to the offender, letting go but wishing for revenge. It is not any one of these things. And that's what I struggle with, because I struggle with boundaries. And I struggle with when it comes to someone I love and someone I care about, I'm ready to forgive. I'm ready just to forgive them and just move on. But then I want to pick it up later during an argument and throw it back in their face. And that means I never actually forgave them in the first place. So when they say, we worked through that, you forgave me for that. And I'm like, oh, then I have to forgive for not forgiving. So in that, in itself, what forgiveness isn't can lead to toxic behaviors and toxic relationships if you don't learn how to work through it together and work through it yourself first and then work through it. Sometimes it's best to step back from the relationship, not break up, not separate, but step away just far enough to have a outsider's perspective, to put a new perspective on the relationship and the offense. Whatever the offense may be, it could be a minor offense, like something small, like not taking out the trash after I ask you to. Okay, that's a small thing, or it could be as big as adultery. Who knows? But whatever it is, forgiveness is a must if this is an individual or a person that you care about. And if you're in a relationship, whether it be a marriage, whether it be a parent-child relationship, whatever that important relationship is in your life, it could be your boss, it could be your coworker, whoever it is that you're around all the time. Forgiveness is key to holding that relationship together. And so what forgiveness is, on the flip side of that, is the decision to overcome pain that was inflicted by the other person, letting go of anger, resentment, shame, and other emotions associated with the injustice, even though they're reasonable, valid feelings that you have. And then treating the offender with compassion, even though they are not entitled to it. Think about this for a minute. Treating the offender with compassion. Jesus did this a lot when it comes to our, setting the example for all of us to follow. All through the Bible, God forgives us for things that are unforgivable. But He forgives us. Does that mean that once we're forgiven, we just go back to what we were doing? No. It means that you also have grown as a result of His forgiveness. That is the hope. That is our faith. And that's what keeps us moving forward. Our hope is in God's forgiveness and God's grace and His great mercy. So whatever we do, make sure you still work through it. There's many passages that I have included that I'll put in my story. But Luke 6:37, Luke 17:3 through 4, Luke 23:34, Ephesians 4:32, Colossians 3:13, 1 John 1:9, Acts 26:18, Psalms 32:1, Psalms 103 verse 3, Jeremiah 31:34, and Matthew 6:12 and Matthew 9 verse 6. I've named all these off for you. These are examples of forgiveness where God has given us forgiveness and examples of forgiveness. Just because we mess up does not make us less important to God. We're still very important to God. And us ladies, we have a tendency to try to soak all that in and hang on to all of it. And then when our husband or our partner or whoever does us wrong, we just puke it back in their face once we've lied to them and said we've forgiven them. We haven't taken the time to examine our own heart and our own thoughts and stop and spend time with God and what needs to be forgiven exactly. Process and work through those emotions that I have felt, that you have felt when the person offended you. And then go to that person once you've worked through it yourself and you've prayed about it and God's answered your prayer. Then you go to that person and say, hey, this is what offended me. This is what hurt me. And I would like to either offer forgiveness, because if maybe it's something you did that was offensive to them, or maybe, like I said, if they offended you. Either way, the goal is to grow from the experience. All right, I hope this helps. Godspeed. God bless.